Today we're going to be talking about creating a contour line drawing of a shoe in Photopea. Basically, it's going to be a tracing, and we're going to talk about why we're going to do that first. Okay, so in fashion design, there is something called a croquis. A croquis is, let me show you. There we go. This is a set of croquis that fashion designers can buy. These are almost like flashcards with different bodies posing in different ways. So the croquis look like this, and then the fashion designer traces the figure and then draws their own images over the top, their own fashion design ideas over the top of the figure. That way, the important part is not that they know how to draw a figure. The important part is the clothing that they're drawing, right? So instead of spending a ton of time on drawing the figure, they can trace it and then spend their time on drawing the design, the fashion design, the clothing that they would like to design. So that's the main idea behind this. Okay, so for shoes, you might start out with a foot like this. You might also start out with a specific style of shoe, and then you can change it to, make it your design. You can't, like for your final designs, you can't just copy another design, but you can start with another design and then make some changes to it so that is your own original design. Well, or based on their design, I should say. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about contour line. Okay. Contour line has no shading. Okay. The first contour line we're going to talk about is the negative space contour line, the negative space drawing. Okay. When you are doing a negative space contour line drawing, you're only drawing the outside edges of the thing. You're not drawing any of the interior. So basically, you're drawing where the empty space meets your object. Now, on the interior of this chair, there's also some empty space. So the artist drew that shape of the empty space. Okay, and this is a technique that artists use to try to get everything in the right place and to really look at the true shape of an object. In this one, they're only drawing the empty spaces within the chair. They didn't draw the outside of the chair. Okay, so again, basically it is drawing where the empty space meets the object, whether it's the empty space around the outside or the empty space within the interior of an object where there's a space. Okay, so that's negative space. Then you can use negative space drawings within your designs. Okay, this is a contour line drawing, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on. Your final design will be a contour line drawing, okay? And you can see that they're only using line. They are using line of various weights. So the line weight is the thickness of the weight, okay? And they're also kind of creating the shape of the object or the shoe with the line. They're showing all the various parts, all the details of the shoe, okay? And this one has even more detail in it, okay? All right, so with the contour line drawing, not only do you draw the outside, where the outside meets the object, which is the shoe, you also draw all of the interior detail with a line, not with shading, but with a line. So here are some other contour line drawings. In this one, they're even drawing the outside shape of some of the shadows or highlights. And in this one, they're drawing the outside shape of the design that is on the shoe. The last thing we're going to talk about is the cross contour line drawing. So with cross contour, the lines are going across the form of the object. Okay, so they show us that this shoe wraps around this way, and this part of the shoe is coming down, and yet there's also a little bit kind of coming across. We're not going to be specifically doing a cross contour line, but it might come into it as we kind of create our contour lines, trying to show the form of the shoe. Okay, so these are some cross contour line drawings. All right, we're going to close this up, and we are going to go back. Okay. And I'm going to go to the general channel real quick and go back and show you some of the cross contour line drawings that students have turned in. Okay, here we go. All right, this is what the example that I created. So what we're going to do is we're going to trace around the edge of the object, the shoe that we're going to be using as our tracing model, okay, the thing we're going to trace from. And then you're going to go into the interior and trace all the lines as well. Okay, I put a blue background on mine as well. Okay, here's the original shoe, here's the blue background, and here's my tracing in Photopea. Okay, this is another one. This one was created by JD, one by Jose or Sebastian. Nice job with varying the line weight to make it feel real, kind of following the contour of the line, of the shape of it with these lines. Okay, and Julian's example, he used a thicker brush, you can tell, and very nice on this one as well, Francisco, and one more Daniels. These are just a few examples. Look at all that detail. You can do as much or as little detail as you want, as long as you get the basic idea of the shoe. All right, so on the assignment, it's called Contour Line Practice. I'd like you to go in and go to, you'll see this view. You're going to go to the Kobe 9 Azul 400, okay, file right here. Click on the 3 dots and download that. All right, once you download it, it will end up in your downloads file. Okay, we're going to close this up and we're going to go to Photopea. So go to your browser. I'm using Chrome, and we are going to go to Photopea, photopea.com. Okay, so go to photopea.com and here we are. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is open from computer, and we're going to go to our downloads. Okay, and here is the Kobe 9 Azul, and I'm going to open that. Okay, once it's open, you're going to be going over to the layers palette, and you are going to be making a new layer. This is where we're going to draw on. We're not going to draw over the top of our background layer, we're going to draw on this empty layer. If you're using your school laptop, you can use your finger to draw around the edges, or you can buy a generic stylus. I got one at a dollar store, and then you can draw right on the screen. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And some of the kids who got the best results did use that. I'm using a mouse, all right, and some other kids had to do it with the pad, okay, the tracker pad, but that is probably the hardest way. So if you have a mouse, that's probably a little bit easier too. Okay, I'm going to make it bigger by going to the magnifying glass, going to plus. Okay. I'm going to choose a contrasting color in the color picker. So first I'm going to go to the brush tool, choose a contrasting color, and push OK. It's on the default is hard edged, which is what I want. And I'm going to make the brush a little bit smaller. Not too small. Let's go with 5 pixels. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to start out, scrolling up here, I'm going to start out just tracing the outside. So I'm just going to slowly go around the outside edge of the shoe, following all of the bumps, trying to make it look as detailed as possible and as close to this as possible. If you make some mistakes, it's okay. You can always go back and erase. Like, let's say, okay, you're tracing and your hand slips. You can use the eraser tool to go back and erase. Okay, and scroll down some more. I'm not going to get the shadow underneath it. Okay, here's another thing that can help. If I click my mouse and make a dot and hold the shift key, it connects the two dots. If I keep holding the shift key, I can just make straight lines. So that's one way, if you are using the trackpad, that might be a little bit easier for you. I'm just keeping my finger on the shift key, and every time I make a point, it connects those dots. Sometimes you get a little bit less detail this way, but if you're careful and kind of go around the edges of things and make the lines short to go around curves, you can get a pretty good line. It goes a little bit faster that way as well. So here I'm going around the curve, so I have to click a lot. If I'm using this method, I'm doing a lot of little points so it curves around. And there we are back at the beginning. All right, now I can change the size of the brush and make it smaller and go back in. Now you're going to go back into the interior and get as much detail as you feel comfortable with. This is just a practice. So if you don't want to, Command Z or Control Z, I'm sorry, Control Z goes back one step also. So if you just make one little mistake, Control Z goes back one step. There we go. And you can do as much or as little detail as you want, but you do have to get some of the interior detail. Okay, I'm not going to have you watch my whole, me do this whole thing because that would take a long time. But one quick shortcut, if you use the bracket tools are on the keyboard. They are to the right of the letter P on the keyboard. You'll see two bracket tools. The right bracket tool makes the brush bigger, and the left bracket tool makes it smaller. So this can help you, just like the point and shift key can help you to, do this a little bit quicker. Let go of the shift key if you're starting in a new place, and then you can hold the shift key down again. Okay, so the idea here is to finish your drawing, finish going around the edges of things. Okay, if you would like to put a color once you're done, you can go to the background layer, add a new layer, and use the paint bucket tool to fill it in. So choose a contrasting color. I'm going to slide this up. I can actually choose the color blue from the shoe if I want by clicking on the shoe. that is the color from the shoe. Push OK. And on this blank layer, I can add the color. This is my drawing layer. This is just the blank layer. Of course, I would want to finish the drawing before I put that blank layer in. Okay, when you're done, you're going to save it. File. Export as JPEG. Save. And then you can drag it to your desktop. If you're having trouble with Photopea and you would like to do this with a pencil and some kind of thinner paper that you can trace over, that is another possibility. Okay, so you know, something else, if you want to do the tracing by hand, you can do that as well. All right, but again, the finished product is going to look, I'll show you my finished product, but I showed you a whole bunch of the student finished products just a moment ago. Okay, here's Daniel Noriega's finished product. He did a lot of detail. He is actually using a drawing pad. Okay, other kids are not using a drawing pad. Julian's just using the trackpad. Okay, but these are the finished results. This is mine. Okay, thank you. Bye.